someone who is affected by this particular disease. So with that, I just want to be very, very brief. I want to welcome you to Town Hall here and thank you all for coming. And I'll turn it over to Cindy.
Hi. Yes, thank you all really for coming. Yeah, we all do know people. In fact, I think I probably live with someone. Tom this morning was taking off, and he said, and where are you going again? Yeah. And I said, it's the dementia thing. He said, I can't remember everything that you do. And I said, no, it's the dementia thing. Yeah. So every one of us is touched with it, and either directly or indirectly. And we put on forums to enlighten folks on a variety of aspects and issues that affect us as we're getting older. Not just because we're getting older, but they seem more pressing when we get older. But I don't do it by myself. The right-hand man on this is our technical and VIP person, John Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ann Burrows is our refreshment.
The refreshment committee.
The whole committee. And Mike DeLauro, which usually he's here, but I don't know where
He's
he is.
chronically 10 minutes late.
That's right. He'll probably show up. But we're really grateful today to have special presenters. January Brown is with the Council on Aging. I think that's the AAA, which is
The Area Agency on Aging.
which is very confusing to me.
They sell insurance on the
I
side.
don't think that's it. But I've heard her name over the years. I've heard her voice over the telephone. I've seen her picture and now I've seen her in person. So this is very, very, very fortunate. And her colleague, Angela Pridgen, and they'll speak to their own experience and how they're able to provide an experience for us today and get us a little closer to understanding what's going on, either, you know, for personal reasons, if you want to diagnose yourself. Or for
No. Don't diagnose yourself.
Don't go that route. But also for the folks that you care about, that you know about. So over to you. Thank you.
So my name's January Brown. I am with the Eastern Carolina Council Area Agency on Aging. We also go by the AAA because that is a very extensive laundry list of names. What we do is we assist older adults in the community. We receive funding from the federal and state level and also some county funding, and we distribute it through 9 counties. So we are overseeing in 9 counties, but our office is located in downtown New Bern. And here in Carteret County, 2 of our direct partners is we work with the Department of Social Services. We give them funding for their in-home aid program, and then also the senior center. And they use it for a plethora of things, such as transportation, home delivered meals, their congregate meals, their evidence-based programs, their caregiver programs, and senior center operations. So a lot of the funding that they receive does come from our agency. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna dive into what dementia is, and Angela and I happen to be pros in our personal lives. She is caring for a mother with dementia. I have cared for a family member with dementia. Angela, you wanna introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Angela Pridgen. I am a regional ombudsman. For those that don't know that, that's a Swedish word for advocate. But I'm an advocate for residents in long-term care facilities, advocating for their rights, trying to ensure they're getting quality care, assisting families if they need to look at placement, what to look for, questions to ask, how to go about, how to start, prices, insurance coverages, understanding the whole long-term care world. So I've been doing this, well, tell your years, but it's been 25 years, and we've got 9 counties. I've switched around the counties, but I've kept Carteret County the whole entire time that I have. So I know my facilities. We've got great volunteers. Paige here at here that works in this office. She's one of our volunteers for our nursing home and our adult care home committee. So I'm excited to be here to help January. We've also done lots of trainings as well with dementia. We're both certified as PAC, which is Positive Approach to Care, when it comes to dementia under TIPA Snow. If you guys have ever heard of TIPA Snow, absolutely amazing, best training we've ever been through.
Definitely. So before we get started today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we call a large group dementia live simulation. So this is to just give you a taste of what somebody with dementia might be feeling on a day-to-day, So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna pass out some gloves, which is gonna diminish your sense of touch. Not that all people with dementia can't feel things, but it just gives you, as we age, we start to get neuropathy, arthritis in our hands, might have sensitivity to touch. Then we're also gonna give you a pair of glasses. Those glasses are gonna impair your vision, because as we age, we start to develop a film over our eyes, and so our peripheral starts to change. But also individuals with dementia, sometimes the brain and the eyes process two different things, depending on what stage of dementia that they might be in. So they might see that that's a cut, but where's that cut? Because eventually through dementia, their eyesight is like this, but then it may start to go to what we call scuba, so they might have to look a little bit more outside their box. And as the disease progresses, they start to move into what we call binocular eyes, and then eventually monocular. So we're trying to give you that visual sense with those glasses, okay? If at any point in time you're asked to take a pill, it's okay, it's a Tic Tac, you have them on your desk. We're gonna be passing out some items on the tables. You may have all the items or you may not have all the items that we've brought with us. So you're just gonna try to bear with you. I'm going to give you a series of tasks. This is not a pass or fail, and I am not diagnosing you that you have dementia or that you will have it in the future. It's just to give you that, immerse yourself into the feeling of what somebody with dementia might feel. You're going to hear a series of sounds before I get started, so there's gonna be loud noise. What that is that's white noise. Not that all people with dementia hear voices and loud noises, but it's to help build that anxiety and that confusion that some of these individuals might face. When we're done, I'll stop and then we're gonna talk about our experience. So I want you to just kind of bear with me. If it's too much for you, you can feel it, take off the gloves and the glasses. Does everybody have a pencil?
And any of you guys, if you want to do the simulations, there's 2 chairs, but it's, you can watch or just take part in it, whatever you prefer. Okay. Yep, do you all have pens? I need some on this side too. Okay.
Vast supply
They might, depending on the type of glass. Sorry. I know, I'm
Still
all
Elizabeth
first thing in the morning.
No, I thought she got married. She's
You will put on these plastic, this is for sanitation, and then we're gonna put these on top of them. So get these on first. Plastic gloves on first. Yeah, we.
laws for central food, so she only has the worst of my aunt took her keys away, and my dad looked that way, and she's got another text somewhere, sure enough.
All guard up. I'm gonna ask you to do a series of tasks, like I said. You may hear everything I say, you may not hear what I say. I may repeat it, or I might give you a visual, like pat your back, stand up, stomp and legs. So just kind of bear with us on this experience. And in front of you is an activity sheet. You'll see it has the gentleman, the woman, the boy, this activity sheet. Each one of you will need one of these. And your pen. This is your first test. Can you pass it out? There you go. Okay. Everybody go ahead and put on your glasses. Watch out for your drinks if you have drinks on your table. No knocking them over. Nobody wants to get splashed today with coffee or tea. Okay, here we go.
And they have to skip yours.
Okay. Okay, so in front of you is a piece of paper. I want you to circle the fork and the lamp on the piece of paper. Circle the fork and lamp on the piece of paper. Look at the piece of paper in front of you and circle the fork and lamp. Okay, when you're done with that, I want you to go ahead and fork and lamp. Circle the fork and lamp. Pills in front of you, go ahead and take one pill. Circle the fork and lamp on the page. Circle the fork and lamp on the page. And then if you have Tic Tacs in front of you, which are your pills, I want you to take one pill. There's cards in front of you. I want you to cards in front of you. You have cards in front of you, swords and cards by Satan. Cards in front of you, swords and by Satan. I want you to repeat these three words after me. Bed, sock, blue. Sort the words by suit. Sock, bed, blue. One more time. What are those three words that I asked you to say? Okay. I want you to go ahead and find the man with the mustache and pull it on your We're going to say pretty man sock, bed, okay, if you have a white shirt on your table, a white shirt, I want you to button 2 buttons on the white shirt. If you have a black shirt and no longer on your table, I want you to button 3 buttons. So button 2 buttons, 3 buttons. White together, she can hear everything. Okay, and then if you have laundry in front of you, go ahead and fold the laundry in front of you. I want you to take out the coloring sheet over, and I want you to write 2 things that you buy at the grocery store that are brown. Right, so flip the piece of paper over 2 things you buy at the grocery store that are brown. Write 2 things in the grocery store that are brown. Laundry, if you have a folded laundry on your table, okay? Cards by continue sorting the cards by
No, get away from there. What do you think you're doing?
Who's the president of the United States? Who's the president? Who's the president? President. Trump? Who's the president? We don't have to write it. Who's the president? I just didn't want you do you remember those 3 words? What were those 3 words? Do you remember the 3 words I told you, ladies? Bed, blue, you're very close. You got it. There you go. There's your 3rd one. Okay, I want you to go ahead and take that piece of paper. I want you to flip that piece of paper. Take your piece of paper and flip it over. Take the piece of paper and flip it over. Remember these 3 pieces of paper. Take the piece of paper and flip it over. So we're looking at the back side of the paper. I didn't hear that. grab your cell phone out. You have your cell phone. And bring money in. And I want you to open it up. And I want somebody to take the first photo. Let's do that. I want you to pull out your wallet, pull out your driver's license. So pull out your wallet, pull out your driver's license, and I want you to show, tell here that it's inside. Take out the wallet and tell the people the key that it's inside. Take out your Okay, on the back side of that piece of paper, I want you to take a piece of paper. I want you to make a triangle, only folding the piece of paper 3 times. Make a triangle, folding the paper 3 times. Take the paper and fold it 3 times to make a triangle, only 3 times. Now put your name on the outside of that triangle. Okay, take off the glasses and take off your gloves. Woo!
They're sweaty.
Is anybody rattled?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to use this simulation, your thoughts, your feelings, and understanding throughout this entire presentation today. So tell me how you all feel. Give me some words of how you feel.
Frustrated.
Frustrated.
And needed each other.
You had to work
We're asking
together.
each other, what did she say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what'd you say?
I heard, what did you say? What did she say? Can you tell me again? What was that? Huh?
Could you talk louder?
Any other words? So we've got confusion.
He
We've
says
got
anxious.
Frustration.
They just want to be years.
Isolated. That's a big word we use a lot. Right? So,
2030, and that's what my kids.
so how do you think this experience might help you maybe a little bit to understand communication with somebody with dementia? Because that was a lot of, even, we do this with children. I had a son with ADHD. I am a professional in this field and I was my own worst enemy because I would tell my son at night, Blake, go put your pajamas on, brush your teeth, and come out here and give me a kiss. Well, I was lucky if I ever saw the child again, right? I'd be frustrated, I'm mad, I'd have to go find him and hunt it down. Then I'm yelling at him, don't you ever listen to me? You need to start listening to me. I told you, duh, 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 duh. So this happened night after night. He was not getting it. Whose fault was it that he was not completing those tasks? Was it his or was it my fault?
Yours.
It's my fault. It was too much information at one time for that child. And I was expecting him to retain from the living room to the back of the house the information I gave him, which I'm lucky if he wasn't playing with his Transformers or his Legos. So I learned I had to say, Blake, go put your pajamas on and come out here. So he'd run down the hallway and get his pajamas on and come right back. Blake, go brush your teeth and come out here. He'd run down the hallway and come back. Give me a kiss, good night, go to bed. And then he was a success, right? I wasn't mad, and he got a little bit more exercise than he normally did. But he completed it, and he felt as a success, and he was independent into completing those. Because as a mother, it would be easy for me to walk down, get my child dressed, take him in the bathroom, brush his teeth with him, and put him to bed. But I'm trying to give him back that independence. So thinking of that scenario, we set people up with dementia to fail a lot as caregivers and as loved ones. So today we're gonna kind of give you a little bit more understanding of how do you approach, how do you communicate with somebody with dementia? How do we understand the world that they're in? Because you've just taken a step into their world. You also got to take off that year. They do not. They live like that day in and day out. Okay? So just to give you some statistics, just to think about a little bit, but just understand in North Carolina, it's estimated that there's 180,000 older adults living with Alzheimer's or dementia. That's what the statistics were about 10 years ago. They were estimating years and years ago, 10, 15 years ago, this silver tsunami that was gonna hit us. And the silver tsunami was stating that by 2025, it's 2025, right? There are gonna be more older adults in the United States, 60 and over, than there are 0 to 18. Scary factor about that is, we have out of 88 out of 100 counties, 88 have reached those statistics. Out of my 9 counties, 7 of them have hit that statistic, and hit it years ago, not just recently. North Carolina, this is current facts, is number 9th in the nation of older adults, age 60 and over. And in 2023, there was estimated over 100, oh no, that's wrong. In 2025, this was just updated this morning, there's about 1.2 million of hours that caregivers in North Carolina provide to older adults. And that is unaided, okay? So looking at normal aging versus not normal aging. As I said, your eyes are gonna change over time. Your hearing is gonna change. That happens, that's regular. You might have slower reaction time. So when you were in your 20s, gentlemen, when you raced your little cars out on country roads and you were going 90 miles an hour, you were ready to react. You could see a stoplight and it's yellow, and you know if you can make it through that light in time, or if you need to slow down, did you have enough time to make it safely through that intersection? And it was your vision seeing it, your brain processing it, and your body reacting, and you were quick, right? As we age, that process slows down. Our peripheral starts to enclose on us. So now I look at that light and I might say, oh, it's yellow. Okay, well, I think I have enough time, and then I go. Has anybody heard of somebody, an older adult, taking a seat with their vehicle inside of a restaurant? It just happened last week in Wilson. A woman went right through a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Her car landed in it, or she's 83, I think is what it was. Well, I swear I hit the brakes, But she's going forward, reaction time is slowed down with age, and it's, oh no. By the time she probably hit the brakes, she was already inside the restaurant, because that reaction time slows down. That's normal. Forgetting things from time to time, we do. We forget people's names, we forget where we put our keys, but forgetting where you put your keys and not knowing what they're for, or misplacing them in the freezer, that's not normal. Forgetting which day it is, older adults, they work off of a different type of schedule. I work Monday through Friday with Angela, 8 to 5. So we can retrace that, okay, we were in last Friday, were we in the office? Okay, so we had that elder abuse thing. Okay, so today's Monday. We recall based off of our schedules information, and we work so much. Today is Monday, it is June 8th, and we keep going. But when people retire, my husband included, he relates to events in life because he doesn't have a Monday through Friday schedule. He's busier now than he ever was when he worked. Doesn't even know if he's coming or going. Misses doctor's appointments. Calls me up and says, oh no, I need this, I need that. I totally forgot it at the store, because he's working off of a different schedule than me. But when you start to be at the point where you're forgetting to pay your bills and your house is in foreclosure, you didn't pay your electrical bill and they shut off the power, and you swear you did, I paid it last week, I wrote a check, but you're 3 months delinquent on paying that bill. You forget that your daughter who's standing in front of you is your daughter, and you call her your sister. That's not normal aging. And then sometimes forgetting the right words to use. I do it a lot, Angela knows this, I have to talk myself through this. You know, the city we're in, it's, by the beach, not Land Beach, but Pinal Shores. I'm in Pinal Shores right now. Okay, I was able to process in my brain and retract to be able to pull that word out. But when I'm using inappropriate words, it comes out as what we call word salad, maybe garbled. People with strokes sometimes have that where their brain's saying one thing, but coming out of their mouth might be something different. Understanding dementia. This is a very big piece of what we're gonna talk about today. I have worked with caregivers and older adults and they're afraid that they're gonna get dementia or Alzheimer's. I'm gonna tell you, Alzheimer's is dementia. It is the same thing. So I am the person under the umbrella of dementia. That is the form of different types of concerns. But me, the person underneath, has a specific diagnosis, which means a certain part of my brain is damaged to cause whatever you see in front of you as a person. So when we talk to somebody and they say, oh, you know, I just got a diagnosis of cancer. I'm so sorry, what kind? Well, breast cancer is different than stomach cancer, right? So same with dementia. Now, Alzheimer's disease is the most prevalent and most common, but you might start with one kind of dementia, and as it progresses through the years, it might come out that you end up with Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's is the whole brain. So at first, if you have dementia, say in your frontal brain, that's all that they see on the scan, and you are exhibiting all the behaviors that come along with that. They might say you have frontal lobe dementia. But as time progresses, that damage starts moving across the head, and now you might have Alzheimer's. Understanding that dementia is not a normal part of aging. It is not an old people's diagnosis. Early onset is age 50. There are people in their 30s. There are people in their 20s that are diagnosed with this disease. It is not just because we got older. I'll hear older adults, and I know Angela hears it too, from people, and they'll say, oh, my doctor said it's just a normal part of aging. No, dementia specifically is not. Also, dementia describes those huge things of symptoms, which is me under the umbrella. Individuals have good days, they have bad days, they have good mornings, they have bad nights. They plateau sometimes and might not have any issues or concerns for a couple weeks and then might swing another direction. It is a slow and gradual progression and decline in your cognition. It does not happen overnight, and it has to persist over 6 months. There is one thing that older adults get that really, really, really quickly can affect their cognitive and mental state. It is a medical diagnosis. Could you all maybe guess at what that might be? Tumor? No. A lot of women get it. It's a urinary tract infection. And we're talking within 24 hours, your cognition can decline. That is temporary delirium. You become very forgetful. You might have increased falls because your processing, your brain slows down. And that is temporary, but it mimics dementia. I've had people call me, my mom's gotten bad every day. You know, the first day she was yelling at me and she was forgetting stuff, and today she's like very docile, very quiet, she's weepy, she's crying, she won't eat, she won't sleep, and this dementia's progressing fast. And I'm like, whoa, not dementia. I said, did she have these symptoms of a cognitive decline a couple weeks ago? No. Okay, you need to see a medical doctor and talk with them and get a medical diagnosis, because it's more than likely related to a medical condition, not dementia, since she didn't have any prior thoughts or issues with it. Because of low blood pressure, low blood sugars, electrolytes, and UTIs can really imbalance and change the chemicals in your brain to cause that brain fog. Issues that we see with people with, as we said, there's normal aging versus not normal aging, right? So, confusion, we get it once in a while, but it's not normal. Difficulty completing just familiar tasks. Knowing where things are. Misplacing items, big one. Memory loss, difficulty problem solving. Even for a mathematician, they start to develop dementia. They can't do a simple math problem. That might be a red flag. Poor judgment, safety. When they go out in their car and they drive and they get lost and they end up in Raleigh and they were only supposed to be going to Dollar General, it's right around the corner. No, they got in their car. This is an automatic. Been driving since they were 16. They forgot where they were going. They just kept on going, right? So that's safety. Trouble with images. So as a baby develops, it takes the time to develop a person, their mother, their image in their brain, for their imprinting of their brain to understand people and faces. This is daddy, this is mommy, this is doggy. It happens with dementia. As your brain starts to have that programming going backwards and those memories are gone, you eventually may not even recognize yourself in the mirror. Because if it's your long-term memories you're living in, you might remember yourself when you were 16. Right? They say that there's 5 to 7 stages of dementia. Understanding first signs, usually not apparent. It's little simple scenes and signs, things that you don't oversee. You start to go into and move into mild forgetfulness, forgetting doctor's appointments, forgetting those bills, those simple, easy tasks. Stage 3, you're getting more and more frequent with your cognition. Stage 4 is usually where we see people start finally, friends, families, spouses start to finally think something is wrong. It's too frequent, it's too often. Their behavior might be changing. They might be more stern, and they were so sweet before, or they used to be so quiet, now they won't stop talking. Their personality might change. And as you move through those stages, eventually it can be debilitating in the end. You're not able to dress yourself, you cannot feed yourself, you cannot talk or communicate with individuals, you do not process memories. So this gives you an idea. I am not a doctor, so I try to keep this simple. I'm not going to talk about all these chemicals in your brain. But at the top of the screen, you can see a normal brain versus somebody, same size, same age, same sex, same weight. But the brain on the right was somebody diagnosed for over 10 years with Alzheimer's disease. What differences do you see in these two brains?
Smaller and darker.
The color, smaller. Can you see how on the right, that information that, oh, tomorrow's my doctor's appointment might get lost? Yeah. Or my wife took me to the doctor this morning, might get lost. That information might not be going back and forth. This is what your brain looks like, and it tells you here what parts of your brain control what, basics of it, okay? So for instance, I said that frontal lobe, that's right up here in the front. That's your thinking, your memory, your behavior, and your movement. So if you have frontal lobe dementia, all those types of things are gonna happen. You might see increased falls. You might think that logic might be gone. They cannot logically process information. Their behaviors might start to get really increased, going back and forth with their personality. Once that whole brain's affected, you can see everything you do, including at the base of the brainstem, like breathe, or your heart beating, is affected by the disease. So depending on where it's at, is going to depend on what type. That is why we encourage people so often, you have to know what type of dementia it is. We have quite a few primary care physicians in this region that say, oh, it's dementia. It's a normal part, and it's just dementia. Okay, well, that does not help me. Me as a caregiver for my loved one, it's dementia, but what am I going to experience? Oh, you know, it's different for everybody. This could happen for 10 to 15 years, you know. Just come back for your annual checkup. We'll see if there's any more decline. That, as a person, should be devastating. Granted, the disease is different with every person, the course that it takes, the many of years. But knowing the type, frontal lobe, what do I get to expect? My thinking, my memory, my behavior, my movement, I might have increased falls. That's important to know. We may not be able to fix it, but if I have parietal lobe, if that's affected, that's your speech. I eventually may not be able to talk. So being able to prepare yourself or prepare your loved one might help when you have that specific dementia diagnosis. People with dementia are hypersensitive. They read the room. So I want you to imagine this bookshelf next to me. And there's all these different books, which are the same as my memories. At the top are my short-term memories. At the middle are my middle memories. And at the bottom are those long-term memories. But with those memories, at the bottom are also my emotions. They're very, very strong. They're what holds that bookshelf together. So as that disease starts pushing on my bookshelf, my books are gonna fall. And some of those pages are gonna rip. But my books are different than your books, are different than yours, and different than your pages. And there is no librarian in this world that is ever gonna put those books back or close those books. So when we say, don't you remember? They do not remember. I say that is the curse word of dementia. All it can do is cause increased behaviors, because guess what? They don't remember. That book is gone. It was checked out a long time ago, and no one's bringing it back. Hopefully they get fined for it, because it's not there. But as that disease keeps pushing, and those middle memories start getting affected, those middle memories are like, I go to the facility and I see Angela today, and we get in a fight. She gets really mad at me, and she has dementia. Really, really mad at me. I'm like, you know what, Angela, forget it. I'll just come back tomorrow. I'm not gonna deal with this. And I get up and I stomp out. Well, I come back tomorrow morning and I'm like, hey, Angela, hey girl, how you doing? She's still gonna be mad at me. She's gonna have no idea why. So the emotion is I made her feel bad. The memory that's gone out of my bookshelf is why she's mad at me. So knowing that that emotion can be strong. We've had people, we do counseling all the time, and they'll say, well, you know, her sister died. Should I take her to the funeral? Does she remember who her sister is? How good is it? What purpose is it for her to go to that funeral? Because in your mind, I always tell caregivers, think before you react. Think of a situation and the potential of harm in the way of the emotions. So if they don't remember their sister and you say, your sister died, we're gonna go to her funeral today, okay? We're gonna get dressed in black and we're gonna go ahead and go. Okay. Where are we going? Well, where are we going? Whose funeral is it? It's your sister. She died. Don't you remember? My sister's dead? Oh my gosh, my sister. And then she goes, hi, who died? Who died? Why are we here? Who died? It's your sister. Could you imagine reliving that memory every 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of being told over and over again something you cannot remember? So who's it benefiting for that person to go to that funeral? Not really anybody. Because not only that, those people in the area that are seeing this, they're like, why'd they even bring her? This is so sad. And it can emotionally affect the whole ripple effect in the room. So is it beneficial to that person or not? So understanding that those books are gonna eventually fall. They're all the way down to the bottom until the bottom of that bookcase, there are no memories left. And that's that long-term memory being gone. Whoops, I went a little fast. So thinking to get inside their box. Wouldn't it have been nice if I had sat down at the table with you and I looked at you, turned off the music and said, okay, let's do this together as a team. I want you all to take that piece of paper. You got that piece of paper. Now, let's take your pen and circle the fork and land. Good job. Okay, next. Would that not have been a lot easier and helped you? A lot of you probably wouldn't have been as frustrated, right? Plus you would have heard me. But we don't do that with people with dementia sometimes. Caregivers and family members can be their own worst demon because we have in our mind who that person was and not who they are. And we have to meet them where they're at. We can't pop that bubble. We can't make them remember anything. We can't make them feel anything. So we're gonna have to meet them where they're at. Just thinking that everyday tasks may seem simple to us. Brushing your teeth, put the toothbrush on, brush your teeth. Brush my hair. Imagine not being able to do those simple steps of opening up a drawer, looking for it, pulling out a hairbrush, and brushing your hair. That is a simple daily activity, but not being able to do that, losing that independence. It can be a lot to remember. So if somebody has dementia, it can be even more difficult remembering a series of tasks like it was when I gave you tons of tasks to do. Some things that we talk about with the talk technique interacting with people with dementia. We use this, I train law enforcement throughout our region through their crisis training. This is one that we use with them to try to help them interact with people in public with the dementia. Taking it slow and repeating your words often. Like I said, if I just said, pull out the piece of paper, circle this on the piece of paper, and I talk slower and more direct. Ask simple questions like yes or no, and that is in the early stages. Because it does not work when somebody's in their middle to late stages. For instance, do you want to take a shower? No, I already took one. I took one this morning. You did, really? Well, let's go take a shower. No, no, no. I take one every morning, and it's not morning. Well, it is morning. No, it's not. I took one this morning, and you can't even be around that person because they smell so bad. You're automatically going to get that no, because in their mind, they did take a shower, and they may not be mindful of their smell, their clothes being dirty, anything like that. So we might have to move to a yes or no. Still give them that independence of making a choice, but it's not yes or no, it's a this or that. Why don't you go down the hallway with me? Would you like to take a shower or would you like to have a bird bath? Let's wipe you down a little bit. Let's refresh you. Which one would you like? Oh, I'll go do a bird bath. Let's go. So you might have the this or that stage where it comes later that you might have more of a positive reaction, but they still have choice. Limit reality checks and dealing with the feelings that are being presented in front of you. If they are anxious and they want to go home, most common thing that we hear, I want to go home. Just take me home. I want to go home. This is your home. You've lived here for 5 years. You moved in with me, Mama. This is your home. No, it's not. It's my home. I want to go home. You're going to go around and around in circles with that person. You're going to feel frustrated, and that person's going to be crying, upset, mad, because you are incorrect. This is not their home. So we talk about doing things that might deter that behavior, such as, tell me about your home. What did it look like? Was it on the farm or was it in a city? Because getting them to reminisce about those things, you might discover that the home they're talking about was the one that they lived at when they were 30 years old, when their husband was stationed at Cherry Point on the base, or on the farm out in Jones County. So you might be able to pick those little pearls in life. They may not remember the now, but they might remember the past and gain those pearls. Keep eye contact with them. Let them know that you're talking to them. Furthermore into that, the positive approach. You always come from the front. I would like you all, I'm going to pair you off. If I point at you, stand up. Okay, stand up. You stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up and stand up. I want you to go behind the person in front of you. So whoever's sitting, stand behind somebody that's sitting. Go ahead, pick one of these young ladies. Stand behind them. Angela, you want to go behind her?
Yes.
Okay. And really quickly, people in the back. I want you to lean over and say hello. 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 Okay? Now, in your mind, pick which side, do it again, really quick. Hello. How'd that feel? People sitting down.
Kind of scary.
Scary and surprising, right? Surprising.
Nicola was a little threatening.
Yeah, wasn't it?
But she's mean.
Now come get in front of that person. Okay? Okay. And now I want you to go up to him and go, hello. And hand him your hand. Oh, look at that. Everybody reached their hand out. Right? Right? Try it again. How's that feel? Hello. Oh, it's calming, soothing, right? Hand over hand. It's a way to get somebody's attention there in front of you. Now, those that are standing up, I want you to get right up on that person. Get right up over them and say hello. People sitting, how does that feel?
Space invasion.
That's your personal space. Who is ready to hit somebody?
Space invasion.
Right? That's startling. Okay, have a seat. So We talk about a 6 feet. Give people 6 feet. Anybody, especially we've been in a world of COVID. They say 6 feet. That's the magic number. I'll tell you, Tina Snow talked 6 feet 30 years ago. It is your personal space. I say get in their bubble. I didn't say get on their bubble, in their bubble, on top of them, right? Hey, how are you? Let's go take a shower. Because it's too much information too quick. So as we talked about, that slows down, that process slows down. So if I'm coming right at somebody, I'm lucky if I don't get hit because I'm going to startle them. It doesn't feel good. You're in my personal space. It doesn't matter what stage of dementia you're at. It doesn't matter if you have autism, anything. That's your personal space. So I always call it my bar swag. I'm gonna swag on into that bar and I'm like, hey, hi, hey, how are you doing? Good, it's nice to meet you. I'm January. And you are? It's nice to meet you. Is that welcoming? Is that comfortable for him and me? I'm not dead on straight on him, right? I'm not, hey, let's go take a shower.
Hey now.
Okay, everybody in this room went there. That's not what I said. Okay,
That could be appropriate.
So I'm gonna, it's like going, oh, you know, I'm so sorry. We have to go to the doctor today, and you have not showered in a couple weeks. So, Mom, you're gonna get up, and you're gonna go take a shower, because you smell so bad, and I am over the way you smell in this house, and it is important to go to this doctor. How does she feel? You think she's gonna take a shower with me?
Heck no.
No, I'm gonna upset her. Even if she doesn't understand the words coming out of my mouth, my body language is very mean and aggressive, right? And I have people that will call in, oh, my mom won't take a shower and I need somebody to come in and do it. Well, have you ever thought about an in-home aid? Well, I don't want some young girl giving my mom a shower and she's not gonna like it. I said, you might be surprised. That little bit of respite, when we talk about respite, it's not somebody come in and take care of that person 24 hours a day. It could be, I don't have to battle with giving my mom a shower anymore. Because, I'm the aide and I just walked in. Hey! Oh my gosh, you're looking good today. You know what? Your daughter told me we're gonna go on a little bit of a road trip. And you want to freshen up your hair and go wash your hair? You wanna come with me? And I'll help you put some makeup on, lipstick. You're looking so good today. But she's gonna be more apt to be like, oh yeah, I want lipstick. Don't even have to tell her it's the doctor. Don't even tell. You can go on a road trip. Let's go. Let me go get you sassied up. Because if I can get her in that shower, let's wash under the arms. Here, let me wash your back for you. That's better than nothing. She feels good, and something's been accomplished in this task. So thinking about that, getting in their world, and maybe taking a step in a deep breath. Also, if it doesn't work, wait 15, 20, 30 minutes, try again. Always open your palm, shaking the hand, not too fast, and wait for a response. If I'm coming up so fast, and I'm like, let's go, you ready? Yes. Sometimes it takes a minute for that response. Don't just jump right in that conversation. Slow down and wait for those responses. Avoid looking threatening, standing above them, pointing, redirect and distract. If they're constantly going for a door, what stops you from taking them outside to take a walk? You have in your mind so much that they're gonna get out that door and it's not safe. Well, who's it gonna harm if we go for a walk? Let's go out. You wanna go out and see the kitty cat? Let's take them out. Demonstrate what you need. Avoid and never argue. Say, I'm sorry. So, everybody all at once. I want you to say, I'm sorry. Ready? I'm sorry. Okay, I want you to say, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
How nice is it when somebody tells you I'm sorry? I want to go home. I'm sorry. Tell me about that home. That will help bring that agitation. Sometimes we all just need acknowledgement for our feelings. We have the right to be mad. We have the right to be sad. We have all these rights. But once you get a diagnosis, we sometimes take control. We've got to help them. We got to make them happy but that can be our worst demon, because if that's not how they feel, they're going to rebel just like a teenager against you. They're going to sneak out at night. They're going to go out that door. Remember, a lot of the time what's happening in front of you is that the person possibly is reacting to what is happening to them. It's a response action. We're not just supporting the individuals with dementia, but we also support their family members. I'm going to the grocery store. Do you want me to pick you up anything? Oh, I heard that you had a doctor's appointment. You want me to sit with your loved one? I know your mom was in the hospital and she just got home and it's been hard for you. Can I make you a meal? Supporting them. A lot of caregivers isolate themselves. You use the word isolation. We hear that so often. It might be too hard for them to take their loved ones out, so they don't go in public anymore. They don't go with the girls because they're afraid to leave their mom with anybody else, because nobody can care for their mom as good as them. So we start to see caregivers starting to stay at the home. They don't take their loved ones out. They're isolating inside. So how can we help them? As a matter of fact, our team over a month ago went over to the North Carolina Aquarium right here in town. Their entire staff, all of their volunteers, 42 members of the North Carolina Aquarium went through a full Dementia Live simulation and training.
Wow.
They have sensory days where it's specifically set up for people that have sensory problems, like children with autism, people with dementia, people with strokes. It's quieter, it's a special crowd. They have more staff on there to help you with that experience. Their staff know the signs, the symptoms of things to look for if somebody's wandering and confused. What is the protocol, what they should do. They have sensory kits that you can check out for free while you're at the aquarium that have fidget items in them that people can play with. They have headphones so people can listen to music. People don't have to stay at home all the time. The community is starting to embrace people in the community with dementia. Having them in their house for 10 to 15 years of the diagnosis couldn't be happy for anybody. We even promote little cards that we have, and it says, "Forgive me, my loved one has dementia. Please be patient." That caregivers can hand to a stewardess. They can hand it to a bartender. They can hand it to anybody.
Bank teller.
Huh?
Bank teller.
Oh.
Yes. Bank teller in a restaurant. Because they're waiting there. I got 20 tables. What did you want? What did you say you want? And they're not patient. Bank teller. What do you want? What do you need? Come on. We gotta go. We got a line. Let's go. Sometimes slipping that card as a caregiver, spouse, loved one, you'll see people's faces change the moment they read that card, like, oh, whoops. Oh. Okay, and they will completely slow down. Because dementia is not a physical looking disability all the time. I have so many people that say, you can't diagnose dementia in 5 minutes. You can't. Because they're the best play actors. They all deserve Emmys. They should be on the red carpet once a year, people with dementia, just getting their awards in line. Because they see the same doctor for 30 years or 20 years. And they walk in, "How you doing today, Miss Brown?" "I am doing great. How's your health?" "Oh, it's wonderful. I'm eating good. I haven't lost any weight." "So any problems?" "No, I'm good. I'm fit as a fiddle." "Oh, okay. Have a good day. Here's your prescription refills." And the daughter's sitting there going, "That's not why we were here. She has dementia. I need help." "No, your mom's fine." "Well, she knew your name." "Yeah, because she's known you 20, 30 years. That's a long-term memory. She's happy to see you. You're smiling at her. You're friendly. She's going to react the same way." So you can't diagnose it in 5 to 10 minutes. So see the person, not the dementia. When you're in public, if you need help, those cards are great. If you need help in your communities, if you have somebody with dementia that you are caring for, you need to tell your neighbors. Do not be ashamed of this diagnosis. It is rampant. There is no cure. How many people in here know or have ever known somebody with dementia? Well, look at that. It's not a secret. And look at how many people in this room were affected by this disease. So you telling somebody could be the best gift you gave yourself, because now you might have somebody who's willing to help you and understand and talk with you. It's not to be ashamed. Knowing that also caregivers have rights. You have the right for a proper diagnosis. The primary care doctor annually, part of the annual exam under Medicare is to do a cognitive test. They get paid for it. If you're not getting the results, you need to ask that doctor for a referral to a neurologist. I always say, you all have your cell phones on you. Videotape that person, because a video don't lie. And say, oh, you think they're great? And here was dinner last night. Here was a conversation with his daughter. Because a video can speak so much. Having a journal, this is what I'm seeing in the way of behaviors. You can't tell me this is normal aging. It's not. And advocating, you must advocate. A lot of those medications that they're advertising out there for dementia, it doesn't cure it, but it does slow it down. But it is only a good medication if you get it in the early stages of diagnosis. That's the only time it works, because it does stop working after a certain part of the disease. And it will slow down the progression, but sometimes it's a little too late. Some people in their mid stages, they finally get the diagnosis and then they want that medicine they saw on TV, but it's taking so long that they don't qualify for it. So getting it as soon as possible. I'm gonna turn it over to Miss Angela to talk a little bit more about.
All right. Okay, so, of course, June 15th is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. So part of this, I wanted to share just some information about elder abuse and the fact that as caregivers, there is burnout. And that's why it's so important to talk to your neighbors, to tell your friends what's going on, getting support, your support groups, community, because you need it. Elder abuse is very common. The #1 perpetrators are our children. Isn't that shocking? It's kind of scary. #1 perpetrator is the adult child.
Mhm.
Usually the adult child is dependent on them for financially dependent on them, has substance abuse going on, but it's far less a stranger than someone we actually know. So there are different types of abuse. We've got your physical abuse, hitting, kicking, pushing, shoving, force feeding, forcing medications, psychological, I told you we're going, get in the car now, or you stink, gosh, I can't believe you forgot again. That's psychological. And sometimes we can get stressed and pushed to the limit, so it's so important to make sure that we've got support. Financial, taking advantage of their money. Everybody remember Mickey Rooney?
Mhm.
Famous movie star, right? Who was absolutely exploited by his children. He actually brought awareness by speaking out. It's amazing they were trying to take every dime of his children. So he spoke out and it brought great awareness. Sexual abuse, and this is, online predators, online dating, dangerous still, it goes on. I had a facility where I had it was a memory care unit, this was in Goldsboro, and individuals with dementia in the memory care unit. There was a maintenance gentleman who was going in, staff noticed him, he'd go in the rooms and close the door, was in there for a while, and they're like, this is really kind of weird and fishy, but they just thought, well, he must be working on something. They should have asked the question, because it turned out he was raping the women in the memory care units, and he is in prison, thankfully. But it's so bizarre that things like that, we don't think that happens, but it does. Neglect, and that's not providing the care that they need. And the #1 elder abuse awareness is self-neglect. So the individual living at home who may have dementia but doesn't have support. So things that you notice of yards, this is summertime, yards that are growing up, grass this high, they live alone, mail falling out of the mailbox or all on the porch, electricity being turned off. January mentioned that, of signs of not being able to manage their bill, eviction notice, that's signs that this individual is not able to care for themselves, considered self-neglect. Many times they have animals and they're spending the money to pay for their dog food and cat food, and they're not eating. Or medications are so expensive, they're like, I don't need it, I'll be fine without it. So neglect is a huge thing. Emotional abuse, signs, behavioral signs is increased fear or anxiety, stress, isolation from friends and family. When someone is being abused, they're not allowing friends and families to come and visit anymore. They're cutting off caregiver support, home health. You know, it's like, no, I'll take care of my loved one, and keep them completely isolated. Unusual changes in their behavior or sleep, something's going on with them, or withdrawal from normal activities. They used to be active in social groups in the community, now they're not coming, they're a little fearful, bruising, not saying, oh, I fell again, you know, that, oh, I fell. You know, those are signs that maybe something's going on that we want to pay attention to. More signs of elder abuse, bruises, cuts, other physical harm, again, sudden changes, unclean living conditions, unsafe living conditions, poor hygiene, not able to care for themselves, not washing, bathing good. I know I'm a caregiver for my mom. She, I have to get in that routine of mine. When you have your shower? She's still pretty independent, but not independent enough to live on her own. She can't manage her finances, can't, you know, medications, she can't drive, but she does her own personal care. But she has this shirt that we bought her for Christmas, because she loves Dr. Pepper. And so we bought her this shirt that says, my blood runs Dr. Pepper. That's my blood type is Dr. Pepper. She wears that shirt every day. Every day. And I'm like, Mom, hey, you know, you got a couple stains on that shirt. Let me wash that for you. I'll get it good and fresh and clean. You know, but those are things that we're noticing about our community members, families, friends, whatever. When you see some same outfit, stained looking clothing, those are questions to ask. Disappearance of personal possessions, unexplained sudden legal changes or financial transactions, misuse of prescription medications. That's when there's adult children coming in, you know, with taking mom and dad's pain medication, selling medication. Another person insists on being with the older adult at all times, and previously uninvolved relatives all of a sudden show up. You know, magically, it always happens, especially, you know, as we age. Unfortunately, I hope you all have wonderful children, but there are some that are not wonderful children. Fortunately, I get to see that ugly side a lot of taking advantage of mom and dad's money and selling all those things, their property. So, what do we do if that happens? If we have, you know, any suspect of anybody that we know, it is not our responsibility to investigate it, to prove that it's actually happening. That's not our job. That's Adult Protective Services. So if you think something is fishy, go with your instinct. Just make the call. Then a professional goes out and visits the individual who knows exactly what they're looking for. Don't ever hesitate to call. Adult Protective Services is located at the Department of Social Services. So you can contact your local Department of Social Services to report abuse, neglect, and exploitation at any time. And I always tell people, if you think something weird's going on, it probably is. Just make the call. Your conscience is clear, and you may be helping someone and not even realizing what a difference you're making. Okay. And then, there we go. Long-term care ombudsman. I gave a little bit about what we do as an ombudsman program, but we are advocates for our residents. We're the link between our residents, their families, and facilities. So hopefully no one in here or no family member will ever have to go into long-term care. but you can probably go into every long-term care facility and ask if anybody was waiting in line. Ooh, I can't wait to go to a nursing home. Woo! Not a single one of them. You know, it's life changes, things happen. We have hip fractures, we fall down, we, break our hip, we have to replace our knee, we've got to go into a facility for a period of time. Or our family member is developing dementia and we're no longer safe to keep them at home. If you can keep them at home as safe as possible, that's the best. But sometimes if you cannot keep them safe, it's looking into long-term care may be an option. Yes, ma'am?
Do you provide services to assisted living facilities or just skilled nursing?
So I'm in nursing homes and assisted living.
Okay.
Yes, cover all of those facilities, yes. So they have to have, every facility has a poster, a resident rights poster, and if it's in our 9-county area, it's gonna have my name or Lauren's name on it. It has our telephone number, contact, they're required by law to have our poster in the building.
Where, like, my mother lives at Brookdale, assisted living in Morehead City.
Yes, so when you walk in,
Yep.
the little library to your left,
Yeah.
right there at the door, there's my poster.
Okay, great.
Yep, so every facility has to have them. But we help with concerns, complaints. Sometimes they just need to vent. Hey, look, does this sound right? They told mama that all of a sudden, they're gonna increase her bill next week by $500. Is this right? And I'll say, you know what? The resident's right says you have to give a 30-day notice and they have to tell you what that is. They can't just all of a sudden change the bill. Oh, by the way, we added $500. No, they gotta give you proper notice. Those are things that we look at, making sure that we know what the rights are. We do, of course, advocacy, information, assistance. People don't know they should have, the same rights as we do in the facility for the most part. Making decisions, knowing what to wear or choosing what to wear, when they're gonna take their shower. So often it says, well, I'm gonna put you on the schedule. You're taking morning showers, okay? And you're gonna take them at night, okay? Period. How many in here take morning showers? Okay. How many take showers at night? Right? Why? I know in the morning that helps me wake up and I feel fresh for the day. I know January, she likes her bath at night to relax after a long day. We have preferences. Those preferences should be honored. No one should be told when to take their showers. Absolutely, it is a preference, that shower schedule.
We're having that battle right
Okay,
now.
you let me know, I'll make sure you got my number, because it is not a staff convenience.
Yeah.
It is a resident preference, resident directed is what our goal
Laundry and
is.
showering.
Laundry, yes, laundries and showers, missing clothing, yes, all those good things. Let's see, we do work with regulatory agencies, so we don't carry the big stick, we're not fining or citing people, but we are the in-between. So it is in their best interest to work with our program because we're gonna try to resolve it at our level. If we cannot, we turn it over to the state or local county. So assisted living, it would be our local county Department of Social Services, or our nursing homes. It'll be our Division of Health Service Regulation out of Raleigh.
Is that the same for memory care?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So with the state, if you report something to the state, DHSR, the state, it could take months for them to come and investigate. You call our program, it is our requirement by law that we get there in 1 to 4 days. So we can get there really quick and try to resolve something, whether you're waiting months and months for somebody to come in and investigate. I've got a, yes.
Memory care, where does that fall?
It's all the same thing,
is
they're
that-
licensed.
But like, would that be with you guys,
Yes,
the ombudsman?
absolutely.
The memory care, because that's not considered skilled nursing. I don't know how that.
So the memory, so Brookdale.
We're not there yet, obviously.
Okay, yeah,
so-
Brookdale
Yeah.
it's, the whole building is assisted living. They
Right.
have a specific license for their special care unit, which is still assisted living.
Okay.
It's licensed, that's in that building, I'm covering it.
Got it.
So the new one that's, had just opened, Embassy, they've got the skilled nursing, memory care and assisted living, we'll be covering all three of those in that building. So regardless if it's licensed by the state of North Carolina as an assisted living or nursing home, we cover that. Okay. And any questions about that? And please get my information. Yes, sir.
I was understanding the embassy could not open because they had insufficient staff. So what is the staffing ratio?
They open, they've got 3 residents.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the staffing ratio requirement from the state? Or
So
feds?
that's a loaded question.
Okay.
So for skilled nursing, there is not a staff ratio. It says they need to have enough staff to meet the needs of residents.
Okay.
Which is a nightmare. Okay, but right now in legislation, we're trying to push for an increase in minimum staffing and getting lots of pushback. That's in one of those changes with the big beautiful bill. So in trying to not do away with what was passed, the minimum staffing is making sure there's an increase. With assisted living, it is based on how many residents are in the building. So for example, in a memory care unit, 20 bed memory care unit, it's 1 staff member for every 8 residents. So they should have 2.5 staff that are there. And so then it changes on
Is
shift.
that 24/7?
Well, it
Okay.
changes on shifts.
Okay.
So, so it's, let's see, there's 1 to 10 and then 1 to 8, 1 to 8 during the day, 1 to 10 at night for memory care.
Yep.
But there's a ratio with assisted living where skilled nursing, there's not a ratio.
That's
I mean,
insane.
I'm having a nightmare with one of our nursing homes with staffing and trying to make sure that the residents are simply able to get out of bed and get a shower. I had a resident that had gone 6 weeks without a shower. Insane.
Yeah.
So, but there are great facilities and there are not so great. You call me, I can't give you my opinion, but I can tell you, yes, these are the complaints that I verified. I can verify that they have an ongoing staffing issue. I can verify they've gone through 10 administrators in 2 years. That's an issue. I can give you factual information, not my opinion, but that is great when you're looking at placement to know, okay, where are the facilities that have been doing well, they have good star ratings, they've been doing well, they don't have current abuse cases. Those things I can share with you, kind of give you the cost differences as well. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Based on how many
So RNs, they are not required to have registered nurses in assisted living facilities.
Right.
Yes,
LPN.
only med tech, but no, the staffing does not, that is for, your direct care staff.
How about on-call people?
On-call people. What do you mean on-call?
Nurses or doctors or anybody?
So they have to have, like a contract with a registered nurse to look over their records. I know Brookdale typically has a nurse, Carteret Landing has a nurse, but like Carteret House doesn't, well, no, they do have a nurse now.
At Carteret Landing, they do have memory care nurse
Yes.
practitioners from a
Yes,
contract medical
that come in.
service.
Yeah,
Yes.
all of them have, your physicians that are the attending physicians for the facility. So they
Right.
do have that, but you don't have a nurse on the
No.
floor. They're not required to have a nurse on the floor like they do in nursing.
Brookdale has only gotten physicians, they have just contracted with a group,
Mhm.
and I have not been successful in my mother being able to take advantage of that yet.
Okay,
So,
You've been
she's
going
been
to
there.
outside primary, and that's,
We've
yeah.
had to, I mean, she's
And
got,
that's fine.
she's got a Blue Cross Blue Shield
Yeah.
Advantage plan.
Okay.
And she's been at Brookdale for a year and a half.
Okay.
And they've been trying to get a contract
Yeah.
group in there. They finally have a nurse practitioner
Okay,
through,
good.
Curana.
Yep.
Okay.
But I still haven't quite made that connection with Blue Cross coverage for my mother.
Yes.
So it's a real problem. And
Yeah.
finding a primary care provider in Carteret County
Oh,
for an
yes.
85-year-old.
Yeah.
Both of my parents live at Brookdale.
Okay.
My dad is finally on hospice, thank God.
Okay.
I was driving to Greenville, back to Goldsboro, Newbern, to try to find the care
Yeah.
with this oxygen. It's been a nightmare.
Yeah. Now, assisted living, you know, you do a lot of going into the community for your physicians.
Yeah.
Nursing homes, they have to have a contract with that doctor, and they have to be able to have admittance, what's the correct term, for the hospital?
Yep.
Admitting rights for the hospital.
So the physical doctor goes to the skilled
Yes.
nursing?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
they do, well, or
The
the
medical,
nurse-
the medical director, but you can in a nursing home still choose to go externally, and not all those doctors have privileges to come internally.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But
Yeah,
the
it gets
medical
complicated with
physician of
it.
the facility does, and they come on a monthly basis for their nurse practitioner.
And I have some